Hi guys, and welcome back to Pass and Move. And for today's episode, we've got another game for you here, and unfortunately, it's not the one that we promised, or I promised, against Chelsea. Unfortunately, a bit of a technical issue. I did record the game against Chelsea, but some problems happened with the microphone, and then yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how OBS works basically. So instead, today we're going to show you the game against Arsenal, FA Cup, fourth round. We're expected to reach the finals, so we don't want to get knocked out too early. It's going to be tough opponents, so it is a bit of a big game. But in terms of my own targets, my main focus is on the Premier League. I'm not too fussed about any other competitions. Let's go ahead and show you what happened since the last episode. So actually, since we're in transfers, I might as well show you transfer history. So we've got some new updates. Bought in Nacho, not actually for 70 mil, at least not up front. Spent more than I wanted to on him, but I thought Madrid would, pretty much just want to get rid of him, but they didn't. And so yeah, I think it was about 40 mil up front, and then the rest of it, so about 30 mil over the span of like 3 years in installments. So not bad. It's not really going to do too much damage to our budget overall. We also managed to get rid of Rojo finally. I mean, he did accept his transfer earlier on, but we also sold Valencia since we brought in Nacho. And now Young is the backup. We managed to send some youngsters on loan, such as Dalot. And you can pretty much read the names here. We also managed to get rid of Lee Grant. I said that we didn't need him. Unfortunately, it is a bit of a loss because, I mean financially, because United did buy him for 1.5 mil and I sold him on for 1 mil. But no one else wanted him for any more, so bit of a disappointing, but it makes sense to have him on anyways. He was also just a championship goalkeeper, so to have him as my third backup, it just didn't make any sense. So I'd rather have a youngster there. But that's kind of it in terms of transfers, so we can have a look at the schedule. So yeah, a couple of costly results really, and we showed you that last episode, which was against Liverpool. There's been a number of games that we played since. Managed to beat Wolves in the Carabao Cup quarter-final, and then we managed to beat Watford to get to the final as well. Cardiff and West Ham were pretty much the results that were unacceptable and that costed us dearly, because now City are top of the table. Tottenham managed to beat them 2-0, which was a good result. Everton another 2-0 result as well. West Brom FA Cup third round, it was a good win, but it set us up against Arsenal, which is you don't want them this early on in the competition basically. Managed to keep going and win against Burnley 2-0, and the result against Chelsea was a disappointing 1-3-1 loss, with Kovacic opening up with the beautiful blast outside the box. Morata doubled their lead, and then Lingard grabbed one to give us a bit of hope, but Barkley killed it off at the death. If you have a look at the match analysis or the stats for the game, it's actually pretty disappointing because we had 2 clear-cut chances. They didn't have a single one, yet they managed to score 3 and we only managed to score 1. So that kind of tells the story that my players were just not up for it, but they managed to respond well against Watford, and hopefully they can do so today as well and keep it up. But in terms of what we have planned for the next few episodes, so it looks like, because I like to show an episode per month, so for this month it's going to be Arsenal, even though it should have been Chelsea. For February we're going to have Barcelona and City. We've got really difficult opponents in the Champions League, so hopefully we can do well against them away from home. We've got the final is going to be against City, the Carabao Cup final, so hopefully that's our first trophy. It would be a nice little episode of that. And then in March it looks like we're going to show the same fixture. There's an Arsenal game here that could be pretty nice to see, but really it's still City because of how the Premier League table looks like, and then Barcelona the second leg to keep it interesting. But yeah, just to give you an idea, we're 6 points behind. We were 3 points before the Chelsea game. We lost, and then that helped Chelsea close the gap on us, which with their 5 points away. And City managed to win their game, so we need to try and capitalise and continue to win our Premier League games, and then when we face them, beat them so that we can close the gap even further. But so far, as you can see, it's our draws that have costed us. So yeah, maybe we can try and pick up some results by the time we meet them. It's games that we really should win. It's 4 of them: Newcastle, Southampton, Brighton and Watford, and then we play City, whereas City have similar opponents, but then they also get to play Chelsea, so hopefully they lose against Chelsea and then they lose against us, and that will kind of even things out if they don't drop points anywhere else. But yeah, that's kind of it. So I think we can get into today's episode, today's match really. And yeah, we still had a chunk of money left, about 30 mil, 40 mil to spend in the transfer budget if we wanted to, and obviously if we moved some players on, we could have made some more adjustments. I just felt it was a bad time to make any serious business during the winter period. It's a bit difficult also to change your tactics halfway through the season, so I have been training them on the 4-2-3-1. This is what the role or the tactic that I eventually want to move towards. But yeah, I just don't want to do it halfway through the season and move on a bunch of players and buy a bunch of players. It's a difficult market in general. So I'd rather do that in the summer. I just kind of improved our defense. Now our whole backline, this backline right now, is leading players in the Premier League. So we've managed to sort out defense, at least our starting 11 defense. And yeah, I mean, in the summer we can change things around if need be. I'm only really going to do a second season if we don't win the title this season, because that's pretty much our aim. Champions League glory and all that sort of stuff is a different story entirely. I just want to show one season. Hopefully I don't have to show two, because I'm just playing this for the length of the beta release of the game, and that's going to be soon. Actually, they're going to release the full game on 2nd November or something along the lines of that. But yeah, this is the team we're going to be going with. Our front three were disappointing against Chelsea, but we have them back here with Lingard, Lukaku and Sanchez after we kind of told them off a bit by dropping them for the game against Watford, which was irrelevant anyways. But they must have been disappointed to lose that, so hopefully they get fired up today. We've got Pogba and Pereira, Matic and our first choice backline, so really we should do well. It's just Pereira who's not the first choice out of the whole starting 11 right now. Shaw picked up a bit of an injury again. He really is incredibly injury prone, and Fred's out for a little bit longer, but nothing too heavy, to be honest. As you can see, a bunch of players are against, and one is pro, and who they're against is actually Pogba, who Real Madrid came in to try and sign him, and I didn't let them, and he's a bit upset, which is a bit weird because we are on his favorite clubs, so it is a bit of an unusual one. But we move on, and it should be okay. He accepted the result, the decision. He's just a bit unhappy about it, and a couple of good games or whatnot, and he should be back to being okay. It hasn't affected the dynamics too much, so I think we'll be alright. Anyways, let's get into the match. We need a win. We need a win away from home as well. It's going to be a tough one. Arsenal are a good side without a doubt, and really we just need the win so that we can maintain good form, and at the same time also get into the 5th round and actually meet the board expectations. I'm not so sure why they rate FA Cup so highly. I mean, I get it why they want me to go far into the competition, but final is a bit weird to demand. But yeah, 4-2-3-1 for Arsenal. It's going to be a bit difficult to defend against because they'll be using the flanks. We only have lone flankmen, but hopefully we can take advantage of the midfield, and Lingard should enjoy this space here just in behind the two central midfielders. They're playing a mix of youngsters and experienced players, whereas we've got almost a full strength side, so no excuses. And hopefully we're just a bit more clinical than we were against Chelsea. So we're not favourites for today's game, but we're not underdogs either, so it's all about motivating our players. I think this team talk should do well. Alright, I think we're good to go. We just want to extended highlights. We want to see some replays in 3D, but just the goals, nothing else. And I think we're good to go. Oop, speed's a bit too high. Let's turn that down. Alright, now we're good to go. Still feels a bit fast. Did I do it wrong? No, it's just whoever that was running incredibly quick. Anyways, so Arsenal get things going and immediately spread the play. They know where the spaces are, but we need to make sure that we... Okay, I thought they were going to score for a second. Danger's not over yet. Pogba does well there. We just... Okay, apparently he fouled him. We just have to make sure we cover our weaknesses and exploit their weaknesses, and we play to our strengths, and then we should be okay. Every formation, every tactic has a weakness and a strength. We just have to make sure we protect ourselves a bit and we capitalize on our own strengths. And of course, like I mentioned, against Chelsea we had 2 clear-cut chances. We didn't score from either one of them, so we do have to try and be a bit more clinical here today, because those fine margins are what makes the difference in these top games. Ozil on the ball for Arsenal. Thankfully Nacho gets his body in the way and blocks the shot, but early signs suggest that Arsenal are going to come away with the result here. I'm hoping we can still move on from this relatively poor start. But yeah, I mean, that was actually a good cross. Nacho's he's actually an improvement on Young, sorry. But it was a tough decision to replace Young, to be honest, because he was playing really well all season long. It felt a bit bad, but he's not a leading fullback at all. He's declining at his age, of course, and not a natural fullback necessarily. In the game, he can play in that position. He's, his stats are decent, to be fair to him, but there's always that feeling that he's not really a fullback. You can kind of say the same about Nacho, to be fair. Nacho has a lot of good attributes going for him when it comes to fullback. He's much better as a fullback than he is as a centre back. But he's maybe a tiny bit lacking in the attacking front in comparison to Young, who's lacking in the defensive front. Anyways, Arsenal are keeping up their good start, and again, shots away. And De Gea saved us there, and I think my players need to wake up because Arsenal are coming for their throats. And there's another corner going in their favour. Ozil with the delivery. Cleared well by Bailly, and Lingard can get us going on a counter-attack if you can play it quickly. Kind of a poor ball to Alexis, has to drop deep to receive it. Cuts inside and does well to find Lukaku. Now we just have to continue building, but that's the end of that highlight. We haven't had a single shot while Arsenal have had 6. We're actually getting ruined here. Another corner, good header, and again, David De Gea there to clean up the mess. But I'm not a fan of what's going on here at the moment. I'm just hoping we can ride out this wave and then start to dominate in our own way. They're a bit fitter than us, Arsenal, by the looks of it. It could be helping them. But we do need to make some amends and push back because we're not attacking at all right now. Nacho getting booked as well. Come on, boys, do something. Arsenal again. Pavon has it down. Bailly's there. But it's Pavon again, and Ozil is going to get the shot away. No, he plays it to Xhaka, and it hits the crossbar. And my players are definitely asleep. I'm not really sure what to do here. Alright, so we'll do what we normally do and see if that helps us a bit. We want to get Pogba further up the pitch, maybe. And we can potentially ask Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez to switch places. See if we can confuse that Arsenal defense a bit more. But at the moment, we are non-existent. We're not even competing in this match at all. So, a change is necessary. And it's been made and there's an immediate highlight, so I'm hoping that goes in our favour. But Nacho's poor touch lets it well be in, and they can hit us on the counter. And smart enough and win the ball back, we can maybe counter their counter. But instead, they hold on to the ball well. Xhaka's there. Squares it to Ozil. Pogba's there to pick up the pieces, and now we can get going. Lukaku. What can he do? Back to Bailly. Forward to Andreas Pereira, who needs to try and make a mark here, because he isn't a first choice player. It's a good ball to Nacho, but again his first touch lets him down. And he's made some unusual decisions so far. He's really making me look bad in terms of why I bought him. But Andreas Pereira does well to cover him. Eventually he'll move back into midfield, so that's a good play all round. But Ozil's still keeping this danger up. Pavon's there. He slides past Alexandro. If he delivers a good ball, we're in trouble. It is a good ball. Ozil's there. Excellent tackle, and Lindelof can play it forward to Pogba. What can he do? Pereira. Alright, still nothing positive for us. We're struggling to deal with a good Arsenal side. I just have a good shape to them, really. Lukaku's there. Can he finish? Yes, he can. And there you go. Completely against the run of play. But I'll take it. 1-0. Hopefully we can push on and Arsenal don't get fired up. Instead they get deflated, because that does not reflect the match at all. They absolutely dominated us, but we capitalized when it mattered. And look at that. Good ball from Pereira, but even better from Pogba. The reverse to Lukaku. He makes most out of his shot and tucks it away with arguably his weaker foot. I think that was his right foot, so if it is, then that means that's definitely his weaker foot. But either way, 1-0. One shot, one on target, and 1 goal, and that's all that matters. We get a corner here. Can we convert another to make it 2? Bailly at the far post. Just needs to deliver a good ball into the box. It's Lingard's there. Back to Andreas Pereira, so another delivery. Can we get... There's a bunch of players in there. There's 4 of them. He goes back to Lindelof instead for some weird reason. Nacho to Matic. I guess we're shuffling over again. Back to Lindelof. If he can switch the play from here, that would be incredible. Instead, he's put under pressure. Does well to find Pereira. Through to Nacho. Pogba. Working it well so far, but Ozil does well to track back. And I think he's man-marking Pogba, because Ozil's an attacking midfielder and shouldn't have been that deep at all. Either way, Pavon gets Arsenal going, and it looks like they're not ready to roll over just yet. Ozil plays it in behind Nacho. It's poor defending. He's having a bit of a mare here. He's got a yellow card as well, so he has to be careful. Back to Kolasinac. I'm not even gonna... Yeah, that guy. Pavon at the far post, and it's headed wide. Alright, dealt with that fairly well, I guess, but still need to step it up. We got our goal, so I think we can ask Pogba to drop back a bit. I think we were a bit better with him further forward, but I'm just a bit worried. An immediate highlight to that reaction, so I'm hoping it's not a poor one, but really, I'd be surprised if it's not. Bellerin back to Niles. Ozil there, and it's a decent shot. Just over the top of the bar, but we survive again. And I need to ask for more from my players. Chaka with a free kick. Yeesh, not too far, not bad at all. But looks like they haven't created too many clear-cut chances, I would say. Can have a quick look at the stats though. And yeah, 0 clear-cut chances for either side. So for all the domination, if that's even a word, they haven't done much. My players, someone like Pogba shouldn't be. He's complacent when he shouldn't be complacent. I'm not even sure why he's complacent. I wanted to ask for more for my players, but now I have to warn them about complacency. And a lot of them seem to have, gotten focused against us. A bit weird. I think they felt that they could potentially cruise through this match. And I'm hoping that complacency team talk will wake them up a bit, but I would have preferred to have told them wake up. Not wake up, sorry. We want to see a bit more fire and zip to the play now. So I'm hoping. So I think that might have worked, but Arsenal can reduce the lead. Already Socrates down, cleared somehow. Matic gets there first. Nope, Pavon's there. Ozil, and that's over again from Arsenal. Their manager must be fuming because the amount of shots they've had, and they're dominating possession, even though they don't have as many players in midfield as we do. It's a bit of a weird one. It really is. But at the end of the day, I'll take a win. It doesn't really matter how you get it. But yeah, we'll ask Sanchez to come off for Rashford. Sanchez having a poor game. Pogba, Pereira. Maybe we can take off Pereira as well. Pogba's a bit tired, but I don't want to. Yeah, maybe I should take him off as well. He's complacent too. Still complacent. So let's move Andres Pereira to the left. Bring on Fellaini as a box-to-box midfielder. That might shore things up a bit. And at the same time, take off the player who seems to think that he can cruise through the game. Maybe that will change things in our favour. Still, we want a second, or I want a second specifically, because one really isn't enough. And the way Arsenal have been playing so far, they're going to grab an equaliser if we're not careful. We needed a second just to give us a bit more cushion. And you know me, I love my third as well. I love to win 3-0. I think it's the perfect result. More so because of my heart rather than anything else. I can't take this kind of nervousness. Alright, so maybe take off Matic for Herrera, give ourselves a bit of fresh legs in midfield, and defensive midfield should be covering us. Needs to stay fresh because Arsenal are going to come with everything at us, without doubt. And we need to try and make it count. So far though, still 1-0. What can we do? I bet the Arsenal manager's probably asking the same thing. What can I do? He's made some substitutions, brought on Guendouzi and Mkhitaryan. Ozil's struggling with performing, but he's also struggling with a bit of an injury. So I'm hoping, he's such a key player for them. I'm hoping with his injury we can kind of get away. But yeah, Arsenal do become more attacking. And that might work in their favour. They're finally trying to move a little bit further forward, get more risks, play with a bit more risk. Sorry, I felt like they were kind of defending heavily earlier on, and so them coming out for it might help us a bit. I think it felt like they had every man behind the ball early on. As much as they dominated the game, it did feel like they were kind of playing on the counter or so. So I'm hoping we can still make amends for it. Good ball by Ozil, but Lindelof's there to pick up the pieces. Fellaini heads on, but Rashford's not alive to it, and Arsenal keep coming. Pressure is relentless. Bailly needs to close down Iwobi. He does that well, but there's 3 players in the box. Sandro clears, but it's only to Bellerin, and the pressure remains. They're throwing everything they've got. Bailly comes across to Bellerin, but he should be in the middle of the box. Iwobi's there, and it does finally get back out the box, but still with Mkhitaryan. This is just relentless. Kolasinac, Iwobi. It is onside, and Arsenal are back in it, so we're going to have to make amends, and I want to win this game, so I don't care if I have to throw the kitchen sink at them, really. We're going to do that, and I think we are a bit struggling on this side of the pitch, so I'm going to move things around again, ask Lukaku to come across. Let's see if that helps a little bit as well. Pushed up Pereira, gone into attacking, moved the strikers around. That's as much as I can do tactically. I don't want to change too much, but the players couldn't get rid of the ball, and that's why, look at that, Bailly's trying to clear it before Aubameyang, but he still gets it. That's a late equalizer. We need to grab the winner before they do. I don't want a replay. Alright, there you go. Look at that. Look how spread they are. Goes up to Kolasinac. Kola. Let's just call him Kola. Iwobi switches the ball really well, switches the play, sorry. Bellerin's there to pick up the pieces. Sandro tries to meet him. There's plenty of bodies in the box. And they're really playing some very expansive football, Arsenal, in the last 10 minutes or so. We should be taking advantage of those gaps that they're leaving, but we've struggled to do so far. Lukaku wins the ball well, and Rashford's through. Just needs to find a teammate. He's got Lingard at the far post. Get the cross in. Not good enough, and now Arsenal can counter, and we look exposed as hell. My players have definitely not capitalised at key moments when they should have. Look at that. Our shape's a complete mess. Bellerin just gets the ball in and we're over. Aubameyang's there. De Gea's there. Even better. But seriously, poor on both ends. Poor defensive shape and poor from my players who are trying to cause. But I thought the highlight was going to continue. We do get another one here. 5 injury time minutes. Sandro just... See, again, it's just a poor ball and they're hitting us on the counter once more. Sandro was supposed to take that ball to the byline and deliver a good cross, and now we're completely open. They're going to score for sure from this. Alright, I'm glad I kind of jinxed that. That was just so stupid, it was ridiculous. I'm thinking to go back on control because they're clearly hitting us on the counter every time, but I do want to desperately win this match. Bailly does well there. Lingard, it's 3-on-2 if he's clever. Rashford. Andreas Pereira. Come on, just be smart about this. Sandro, get into the byline and then cross. There you go, that's all we wanted. That's all I needed. That's it, that's literally everything in our tactic. That's everything that I ask for. And they finally do it, and it finally results in a goal. There you go. Rashford coming off the bench to score. Assist by Sandro. Our fullbacks are so key to our play that if they don't perform well, the rest of the team doesn't perform well. And so thankfully, Sandro finally stood up in a key moment there. But all around good play from all the players in that moment of time. Look at that delivery. Rashford the quickest alive to it. And we had enough bodies in the box to confuse the Arsenal defenders and potentially grab the win. But it's not over yet. Arsenal are not done. 3 minutes left, and it's another highlight. It will be. Come on, Nacho, just take him out. Actually, you're on the yellow, never mind. It will be, cuts inside, finds Niles. And Sandro couldn't get there first. It's Mkhitaryan. Long range shot, and I'll have that all day long. You can do that all day. No worries. Actually, I want to have a look at the stats later and see who created more click-up chances, because I feel like we did to Arsenal what Chelsea did to us. But we still need to get the win, because it's not over. And I'm hoping my players realise it's not over either. Guendouzi spreads it to Kolasinac, or Kola. Ramsey's there, but so is Lindelof, and he goes back to David De Gea, who lumps it forward quite poorly, and Niles can get Arsenal going again. Bellerin down to the byline. There's 4 bodies in the box. It's difficult to miss anyone, but thankfully Mkhitaryan's heading isn't good and he just heads it over. You know what? I'm going to actually ask my players to tighten up, to be a bit wise in these situations. And there's another highlight. The game might as well just show us the whole period, because at this moment it just doesn't make any sense. It's on extended technically, but it keeps pausing and then coming back just a couple of seconds later when the ball's in open play again. Look at this. Look at how many people they've thrown forward. And they've got Bellerin in the right position, but thankfully his cross in the final third is poor. My players just have to be a bit wiser with how they play now. Lukaku wins the initial header well, but you can't find Rashford or Lingard for that matter. And Arsenal look like they're going to have one last chance before it's over. Kola cleared well, both by Sandro and Fellaini. But it's not over yet. Bellerin to the other fullback, Kola. Oop, stopped initially, but not over. And yeah, there you go. That's everything I can ask for from Nacho, and I think that's even a throw-in as well. so we might just about come away with the win here. A bit of an undeserved one. I don't know. I mean, we made the most out of our chances, and Arsenal. We'll have a look at the stats after, but I think quite a chunk of their shots were just not threatening at all. But yeah, getting everyone forward at this moment of time. Then the referee doesn't want to blow his whistle. He's trying to give me a heart attack. Cola's still there. Nacho's there as well, and that's the end of that. Finally, all right. Okay, so we only had 4 shots, 3 of them on target though, so that's a good ratio at least. But yeah, 3 shots on target, 2 goals. That's as good as it gets in terms of efficiency. In terms of clear-cut chances, we didn't create a single one, and Arsenal only created 1. You'd argue that they had the worst game considering 26 shots, just 7 on target, and a single clear-cut chance from it, which they didn't capitalise from either. And yet we managed to score 2. So I think the game doesn't consider some things that would actually be clear-cut chance. They don't actually consider as a clear-cut chance. But anyone watching live would be able to tell. Anyways, it's a good win for my team, and we're gonna have back-to-back episodes of Manchester City and Barcelona. And in terms of the stakes, it's as high as it gets. We need to win against City to win the cup, the Carabao Cup. And we need to win against City again in the Premier League so that we can try and close the gap to them or even top the table. And then against Barcelona, we just need to try and get into the quarterfinals because that's what the minimum expectation from the board is. But yeah, definitely I agree with this. This is lucky Manchester United. We celebrate. We go into the next round of the FA Cup. And we just have to try and get to the final and eventually win the trophy as well if we do that. But yeah, I think that's all for today's episode. So if you did enjoy it, then of course please hit the like button and subscribe if you're new. And if you're already subscribed, then of course do hit the notification button, turn your notifications on for this channel. And that'll be all. Thank you guys for watching.